Hi, good evening. I'm Shane Jones with the LIME Sports World. Barbadian professional boxer Shawn Cox can get another title shot in 4 to 5 months' time against the man who stopped him over the weekend for the World Boxing Federation's cruiserweight belt. Cox failed in his bid to secure the vacant WBF world title on Saturday night at the Heartfelt Arena in South Africa after suffering a first-round knockout against hometown boy Danie Venter. In the first few seconds of the fight, Cox was knocked down by Venter, but he says that was mainly due to a slippery canvas after landing the first punch.
I think that I put too much power into the first punch, and the hard fights before mine, and the rain was wet. So when I let go the right hand, the left hand, the first shot, I slipped and wringed my ankle, so I cannot recover. So the guy saw me going down and he shot me with a shot. So in boxing, there's always a rule that when you get hit going down or coming up, don't care what you get hit, is a knockdown. So after that knockdown, I cannot recover, I cannot feel my leg, I cannot feel my ankle because the ankle rang so cruel that it hurt me. It went straight to my back. So when I got back up again, the guy see opportunity to stop me in the first round. And the referee see that I cannot defend myself, so the fight gets stopped.
Well, Cox says the injury will take about 2 weeks to heal, and in November or December he'll be heading back to South Africa for another fight, which, if he wins, will qualify him to take on Venter again. This was confirmed by his handler Sam Lane, who also had some good news for himself and the Caribbean coming out of the South African trip.
We've already negotiated another title shot for an international title, a lower title, and should Shawn be successful in winning this title, Shawn will be given the approval to fight again the inventor for the world title. Also coming out to this, I met with the WBF president, and he's offered me the opportunity, since I'm not promoting any longer, to join his team and bring the WBF, the World Boxing Federation, to the Caribbean. So I will be the representative for the Caribbean on the World Boxing Foundation. So probably within the next week or so, I'll get together a group of people who would be working alongside me to represent the Caribbean for the World Boxing Foundation.
Well, Cox and Lane returned home this evening. Cox has now lost his second shot at a World Honours after winning a few regional titles, and his record now stands at 17 wins and 3 losses with 16 knockouts. The defending champion City of Bridgetown managed to come away with a draw, while Christchurch East registered the first win of this year's David Thompson Memorial Football Classic. The tournament kicks off yesterday at Gall Hill in St. John. Here's Marsha Boyce.
The defending champions, the City and the Fluorescent Bibs, were opening their campaign against Christchurch South. But it didn't start the way they would have wanted, conceding a penalty in the first half. Armando Lashley duly converted for Christchurch South, giving them the 1-0 lead in the 25th minute. They held on to that slim advantage right through the halftime break and for most of the second half. But in the dying stages, 2 minutes into time added on, City would get the equalizer. Enrico Cave slotting home to salvage a point for the defending champs. Christchurch South won, City won. St. John fans came out in their numbers to support the home side. They were up against Christchurch East. But they had to wait until 11 minutes into the second half for the first goal, and it wasn't in their favour. Jamal Pinder shifting his marker to put Christchurch East ahead. Finally, the deadlock was broken. Within the final 10 minutes, St. John got the perfect chance to equalise. An appeal for handball, and the referee, after conferring with his assistant, determined it was in the area. So a penalty was awarded to St. John, but they couldn't put it away. Goalkeeper Jamar Harewood making it look easy, keeping their 1-0 lead intact. Christchurch East would catch St. John napping on the counter. Even though St. John had the numbers back, the custodian would make a meal of this one. He tried to redeem himself, pulling off the first save, but Christchurch East kept the pressure on. Kadeem Durant finding the back of the net in the 84th minute. Disappointment for the home fans as this one ended Christchurch East 2, St. John 0. Marsha Boyce, CBC Sports.
Thanks, Marcia. Nulook 360 Connection registered the biggest win of last night's games in the LIME Pelican Football Challenge played at the National Stadium. 360 Connection enjoyed a 6-1 landslide victory over Sportstown Galaxy, with Dwayne Stanford scoring a hat-trick. Ramel Bino accounted for 2 of the other goals after Kyle Gibson got things rolling in the 3rd minute. The lone goal for Galaxy was scored by Antone Corbin. Meanwhile, Emerson Boys' 5th Avenue Bayesian Elite were 2-0 winners over Scotty's Combined Stars. Revere Williams and Raymond Hope scored for Bayesian Elite. It was a triple header that saw Phoenix UFO Toyota Firehouse feature in the night's final game, and they were also in winner's row with a 2-1 victory over Red Tridents. Reporting on that game is CBC's Anne-Marie Burke.
Red Tridents turned on the pressure early, and despite Firehouse keeping the defense tight, Shuring Success was able to break through, and with just 3 minutes of play, his name was on the cards. But Firehouse would not sit tight, and this corner kick resulted in the equalizer. Shawn Cox comes through to head it in, 1-1 the score at the half. But Firehouse were out to be victors, and Kemar Barnett had a power of a strike at goal, literally knocking the keeper off his feet. Firehouse claiming the 2-1 win. Anne-Marie Burke, CBC Sports.
No play was possible in either of the 2 games today in the Champions League T20 in India. Dwayne Smith and the Mumbai Indians would have been up against the Otago Volts of New Zealand, while the Perth Scorchers were set to take on the Lions of South Africa in Ahmedabad. But heavy rains forced the abandonment without a ball being bowled. Tomorrow at 10:30 a.m., the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force will play their 2nd game of the tournament against Darren Sammy's Sunrisers Hyderabad. That fixture will be on ESPN 1. TNT are 1-0, having won their opening fixture. Christchurch Foundation paid a special tribute to their under-19 cricket champion team recently with a special dinner at the school. Anne-Marie Burke reports.
Bedecked in their school crest-branded blazers, the under-19 cricket team was the guest of honour recently at the Christchurch Foundation School, celebrated for their victory in the BCA's under-19 schools competition. The members of the team who lifted the trophy back in August after a 16-run win over Combermere were presented with tokens of appreciation for their outstanding performance at a specially arranged dinner at the school hall, where relatives, members of staff and old scholars were joined by specially invited guests to toast the young men who brought cricket glory to the school. Principal Robert Cumberbatch lauded the boys for their dedication and perseverance, while old scholar and cricket legend Joel Garner shared words of encouragement and inspiration to the young men he sees as the next generation of great cricketers. Coach Nemo Wynn said when he joined the school some years ago, it was his vision to bring out the best in the team, both on and off the field, and the success they enjoyed is just the beginning.
My plan basically is to create well-rounded individuals. If you don't make it in cricket, and I tell them all the time, if you don't make it in cricket, you must have something to fall back on. It took me a while to break the bad habits, but I've had a lot of breakthroughs with them. There's a lot of challenges, and I must say I had great support from the staff, my department especially, Mr. Osborne, guidance with the experience. Then I had some very good leaders in Dean Doughty and Joshua Drake.
Anne-Marie Burke, CBC Sports.
Well, that's it for sports. Business is next.
There's a concern that fear is playing a major role in how the ongoing economic crisis is being perceived. According to President of the Small Business Association, Dalton Medford, business people must be wary of this perception as they face various challenges. He made the remarks during a Thanksgiving concert hosted by the Small Business Association at Jubilee Gardens in the city.
Our leaders and members of the media tells us that our economy is facing the worst depression since the 1930s. Assumption in all of these news reports is that there is little we can do to prevent our businesses from going under unless we get government help. This may be so, but I say to you that fear is playing a major role in magnifying the current economic crisis. And this fear of the future can paralyze us and prevent us from taking practical steps to grow our business.
Mr. Medford said business people must assess the challenges and come together in a meaningful way to address them comprehensively.
Business leaders need to join together to move beyond the fear and move towards a more productive and positive attitude. This first step is to evaluate exactly what the situation is and identify what are the legitimate fears and what are those we have conjured up independent of reality.
Minister of Industry, International Business, Commerce and Small Business Development Darville Innes also delivered brief remarks during the service. He reaffirmed the government's commitment to the small business sector.
I just want, as Minister, on behalf of the government, to reaffirm our commitment to the small business sector in this economy. We, of course, will work assiduously to ensure that we bring clarity as to the definition for the sector, to bring clarity as to what is needed to ensure you survive and thrive, not only in these times, but in years ahead, and to ensure that Barbados is richer for the contribution of the small business sector to this economy.
Work on the first supercenter in the Costa Manning's retail integrated store at Warrens is progressing rapidly. In fact, the Costa Manning's retail should be fully integrated into the popular supercenter building in another month. Construction work on the bottom section of the building has been completed, and officials are looking forward to the end of construction, which got started the last week of June this year. Managing Director of Supercenter Neville Brewster is pleased with the work done so far to accommodate the relocation of the Costa Manning's retail Warrens. Construction is being carried out by general contractors Morris Straker Construction. This new retail format, which will be the first of its kind on the island, is an initial step towards a 3-year retail transformation plan for these two companies. At least one major fuel company has indicated that it has no immediate plans of increasing the number of service stations on the island. In fact, Chief Executive Officer of Rubis Eastern Caribbean SRL, Mauricio Nichols, says there is no evidence that there is a need for more stations in the Barbados market.
When you look at the retail network and you look at the growth of the retail business, what we're seeing here in Barbados is that the market overall is not growing. In fact, the retail market is declining 1 to 2% per year. Normally, in a given market, in any given market, you would build new service stations because there is a demand growth, or because new roads are being built, or new neighborhoods or new cities developing, and they have a need to have access to fuel that is closer to the communities. We do not see that here in Barbados.
He said Rubis had only started constructing one station, and it is associated with an existing housing development.
We see that the country has a sufficiently large network of service stations. There is not a big need to build a large number of new service stations. From time to time, there is an opportunity to open up a new service stations, and we have embraced that opportunity in the Coverley development. We have built and branded a new service station that we hope to open soon. And we will continue to look at those opportunities, but those opportunities will not be very plentiful, maybe one service station every couple of years.